Today's San Francisco 49ers report is presented by Manscaped. You can get 20% off and free shipping on the best men's grooming products. And in a bit, we're going to tell you about the brand new Lawnmower 5.0, which is out of this world, and it'll take your balls to the moon. First, though, make sure you join us for our Monday Night Football watch party. San Francisco on the road in Minneapolis to take on the Minnesota Vikings. During our watch party on Monday, we'll be giving away a signed Frank Gore jersey. We'll raffle off a Niners hat as well. It's the best place to experience game day outside of being at the stadium. Our pregame show, we'll have fun during our pregame tailgate and pregame show. So let's start to take your questions here on the Niners Report. We begin with Robert James. If we have that much salary cap space, what are the chances of getting Robbie Gould back as our kicker? So throughout this past week, after Jake Moody missed from 54 and then the game winner from 41 on the road against Cleveland, we talked a couple of times about Robbie Gould. He's one of the most popular names in the Bay Area right now. And I never understood why the Niners, with a Super Bowl-ready roster, they moved off of Trey Lance because he wasn't a Super Bowl-ready quarterback, and Brock Purdy helps a Super Bowl contending team, why they decided to mess around at kicker, a very important position which can impact games, as evidenced by what happened in Cleveland. And they went with the rookie who's unproven over a guy who has never missed in his playoff career in Robbie Gould. Now, I don't think that the Niners are going to panic right now and can Jake Moody, release him, waste a third-round pick, and sign Robbie Gould. But I will tell you this, that the heat will start to rise, and it'll get hotter within that front office if Jake Moody continues to struggle, and fans are going to continue to bring up the option of bringing in Robbie Gould because of how clutch he's been, the kicker that he still is, and the fact that he's still out there and he wants to kick footballs. Matt Keller with the $2 super chat. Should we go after Derrick Henry as RB2? I agree with Matt in his thought process of needing to fortify maybe the backup running back position outside of Christian McCaffrey, and that's coming from somebody who's a big fan of Jordan Mason. You all know, if you've watched the show, I think that Kyle Shanahan should feed Jordan Mason the football a little bit more. I think he's a dynamic runner. I like the physicality that he brings to that position. He could pick up yards after contact. He's a little bit different stylistically than Christian McCaffrey, and he could break some tackles too. And I think that with more reps, he becomes a better player. He's obviously not Derrick Henry, but I'm also never a huge fan outside of paying a weapon like Christian McCaffrey, not just a running back in Christian McCaffrey, paying that position a lot of money, and Derrick Henry is making a lot of money. Now, in this scheme, sometimes with those outside runs, it'd be difficult for Derrick Henry because he doesn't always have that speed to get out to the perimeter. He's underrated in that regard because he still has some jolt to his legs. He's more of an inside runner, though. And with San Francisco, they, of course, run a lot of inside runs. But as a pass catcher, he doesn't really give you much there as far as versatility. And again, he's expensive. So I don't think Derrick Henry, who I think could get dealt if the Tennessee Titans decide to sell, is an option for San Francisco. Just not really a scheme fit for the Niners here. Ramon Mendez chiming in. Offensive lineman gets us to a Super Bowl. Look, if you watch the show all throughout the offseason, in the draft, in free agency, I was really surprised that the Niners did not address offensive line. Like, they went kicker and tight end in the third round over offensive line. Spencer Burford, a little bit leaky so far through 6 games. Colton McKivitz, a little bit shaky at right tackle. We've seen that right side of the line of scrimmage cause problems and hinder this offense so far, and it is the biggest weakness on this football team, in my opinion. If the Niners were to trade for a player like Garrett Bowles, another solid tackle out there, it just helps them out. Pass protection, running the football, but also when you pit the Niners up against some really good defenses, they've struggled historically the last couple of years because of their lack of investments into that position. So the problem is there aren't always offensive linemen who get traded at the deadline because when there are good ones, teams like to keep onto them. But if there is one out there, I'd be all in if I'm the Niners because that weakness does scare me when you go up against elite defensive lines and elite edge rushers, which you will face en route to a Super Bowl because that's the destination for this organization. Monday Night Football coming up. Who you got? SF for the Niners, MIN for the Minnesota Vikings. Get your game predictions into the comment section right now. Looking forward to seeing what you all think. Today's show is sponsored by Manscaped. As I mentioned off the rip, you can get 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com/49ers. Promo code 49ers. They have a brand new Lawnmower 5.0, which is even better than the Lawnmower 4.0. And for all my fellas out there, my gentlemen across the nation, I have an urgent message for you. The brand that took your balls to space is now launching them into the Ultra Sphere, introducing that Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra, featuring a new cutting-edge design and next-generation dual skin-safe blade for different shaves. It's pretty much a spaceship to take your boys downstairs to the next level. So join the 9 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with the brand new Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra by going to manscaped.com/49ers for 20% off and free shipping. Use that code 49ers so that they know that the 49ers Report sent you. Every man knows how scary it can get when going for a close shave below the waist. That's why I trust Manscaped for all my sensitive areas. Producer Chip's girl was in town recently. He came up to me and he was like, Chase, the Lawnmower 5.0, it's a game changer. You can see for yourself, manscaped.com/49ers. True story, by the way. Promo code 49ers. We'll put that link in the comment section as well as in the description of this video. It's manscaped.com/49ers. Some sleek packaging as well. And you already know about the performance package as well. Great products there too. Garcia Brothers, good to hear from you once again. Hey, Chase, whatever happened to Jair Brown? Thought he would have been a part of our rookie sensation list. Yeah, so for Jair Brown, I think that the play of Talanoa Hufanga, All-Pro last year, and Deshaun Gibson, it's been so good, and they've been so healthy that San Francisco hasn't needed to put Jair Brown on the field. But everything that I've kind of heard, everything that I've seen, and everything that the Niners have said, rookie OTAs, minicamp, preseason, training camp, he's impressed a lot of people. I think that the plan there for Jair Brown, by the way, Penn State doing a great job of developing pro talent under James Franklin, is that whenever Deshaun Gibson decides to call it quits for an NFL career because he's getting a little bit older and he was kind of day-to-day, week-to-week this offseason determining whether or not he wanted to play, whenever he decides to retire or whenever the Niners want to move on from him on that one-year deal, Jair Brown is that next safety up. I believe in the player, and I think that with this defensive scheme, with the pieces on this defensive unit, I think he's going to be a really solid player. Little dude, wow. I knew eventually the overuse of McCaffrey would catch up to us. They should have been giving Jordan Mason more snaps. Completely agree. I warned a lot of people out there that, look, you have to stop giving McCaffrey the football this much. It's really hard to not utilize a weapon like that. Pass catcher, runner, in between the tackles, out to the edge, versatile option. You use him as a motion man. Teams have to account for what he's doing, and you motion him to one side, you throw to the other. Defenses at all times when McCaffrey is on the field, they have to account for where he is because he is a home run threat. But let's be real. He's been in the league for a while. He plays a brutal position that is very physical, and it takes a toll on your body. And for Christian McCaffrey, we've seen the last few weeks, hasn't quite had that juice because teams are trying to decapitate him in football terms and light him up. And finally, the injuries caught up to him against Cleveland. We'll see what happens on Monday Night Football. Joseph Kelly should use Christian McCaffrey as a decoy. That's funny that you said that because I was literally just talking about McCaffrey being a decoy. That motion man. I like what Kyle Shanahan has done where they kind of go split back in the backfield with Purdy, Deebo, McCaffrey, and then McCaffrey goes out wide. Like the defense then is stretched toward the sideline, and that's when you can throw that quick little seam ball. You can throw something down the numbers. You can run a bubble screen in. You can go jet sweep away from that action. A lot of different things that you can do with McCaffrey and Kyle Shanahan pre-snap. One of the best at that. Mike McDaniel doing a lot of that stuff right now as well. Dr. Jaspreet, one of our real ones here on the show, and a Super Chat OG. Get quality man coverage cornerback too. We can stop offenses from quick throws, allow our defensive line to sack the quarterback. Also, I miss Azeez Al-Shire. He was able to fill in for Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw. Our run defense, not good last week. All right, let's go section by section here. Get a quality man coverage cornerback. I agree. And I think that it just makes your football team better and deeper at the same time. You have Charvarius Mooney-Ward on one side, and then you get a quality corner on the other side. And Deommodore Lenoir has played really, really good football the last year and a half. A little bit short, though. I like his instincts on the outside. He's had a couple of really good and huge key interceptions last week against P.J. Walker, Dak Prescott in the divisional round last year. He's a very good player. But if you have him on the inside and then you have another really good corner opposite of Mooney-Ward, that fortifies your defense. I think that the Niners pass rush can do a little bit of a better job of getting to the quarterback. And if they do that, what does that do? Helps the back end because they don't have to be in coverage as long. And then Azeez Al-Shire, very, very good and underrated player. What a luxury it was to have Fred Warner, Dre Greenlaw, and him. Just a fantastic linebacking trio. Drippy Sports. I see a huge issue with Brock Purdy right now. Ooh, interesting. All right, what do we got? George Kittle hasn't gotten any passes. Purdy is putting our wide receivers at risk by throwing to them only, which is hurting them. Purdy needs to throw to Kittle more. I agree that we could see more from George Kittle, and I think that the Niners would benefit from implementing George Kittle more so in this offense. I don't understand how he only had one catch against Cleveland. You're struggling to throw the ball. There's inclement weather. Who's good at picking up yards after the catch? Who can you design and call an easy play to? George Kittle. What allows Brock Purdy to get his confidence back up, to see the field a little bit easier where he can make an efficient throw? George Kittle. So the game planning last week in the pass game, I didn't like it, especially when you're without Christian McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel. Now, I will say, upon going back and watching the film, they had to use George Kittle on the side of Trent Williams a lot to help on Myles Garrett because Trent Williams was injured and allowed the highest pressure rate of his career in a game against Myles Garrett. So Kittle was asked to block a lot, but come on, you got to get him involved a little bit more, especially on the heels of that hat trick, the 3-touchdown performance against the Dallas Cowboys. So that does it for our mailbag, but that doesn't do it for our show because I want you to predict the score. San Francisco 49ers on the road against the Minnesota Vikings. We asked you earlier who wins. Now I want you to predict the score. I think the Niners win this one, and I think once again they put about 30 points on the board. How about Bryant? We lied to you. We have one more question to get to because Bryant, one of our winners of a $500 custom Niners jersey, he too a Goldmine Hall of Famer. Hey guys, working grad school has kept me away from y'all. Niner gang. How about Bryant fittingly rounding out our mailbag? Thank you, Bryant. You're the man. Bang, bang, Niner gang. You already know.